Hey everyone, I am super excited about this episode. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Joshua, and I started this channel, Bookish Dad, because I just got back into reading. I started and finished Akatar, and it revamped my want to read. And so I wanted you to come along on this journey with me. I thought it'd be fun to put together some videos and maybe go over some books and for the first video, I thought, what better than to do a book haul? So I went to Target and Barnes and Noble and got a bunch of different genres of books and from a bunch of authors and a bunch of different things I typically wouldn't read and wanted to just kind of go over them with everybody. This first book I got is Sons of Darkness, and I got it because the sprayed edges are super cool and the front was really pretty and had a big wolf on it. So it is by Gaurav Mahanti, who I don't know much about, but it seems like, from what I read, this is like an Indian version of Game of Thrones. And it kind of follows this young protagonist who is trying to become a better person and give up the ways of killing. And it just, I mean, it looked and sounded like a really good book. And it had some good reviews. And like I said, it had some really cool sprayed edges. This book is a dark fantasy. And as far as I know, there's no spice in it. So if that's not what you're into, you probably wouldn't want to read this. And if it is what you're into, you'd probably really enjoy this. I'm excited about it. So the next book I got is called Never. And Never is by Jessa Hastings. Again, this is another author that I have never read, much of what they've written. This is a romantasy, and it is spicy, which is right up my alley. Like I said, I like Akatar, and I love fantasy books and love ones that have some spice in them, some smut, whatever you want to call it. And this one again, the cover was like all sparkly and looked really cool. Basically, what I gathered from the synopsis on this one is that it is a Peter Pan retelling, which I thought was super cool. It seems like it's like a love triangle with Wendy, Hook, and Peter Pan, which is kind of a twist on the original. And that's all I know about it. But I am super excited about reading it and look forward to it. The next books I got is by V.E. Schwab. And it is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. And this one I have heard about. V.E. Schwab, I know who it is. It's a big name author. This book basically seems like it is about someone who made a deal with darkness to become immortal, but in doing so, cursed herself, and everyone she meets forgets who she is, or maybe she becomes invisible to them. And then somewhere along the way, she meets someone who can see her after she meets them. And that's all I know about this. Uh, I thought it was a super cool uh, take, I guess. This is a fantasy, and I don't believe there's any spice, just a little bit of romance. But it is supposed to be a very good book, and it's got a really pretty cover too. So I'm really excited about this one. The next two kind of go hand in hand, and this is Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows, which I have heard a bunch about. This is kind of what they look like. Uh, This is by Rebecca Ross, another big name author I've heard of, but I've never read any of her books. I tried to get a bunch of books that I wouldn't typically read, but have been interested to read. This is YA, fantasy historical, and there's a little bit of spice. What I gathered from the synopsis is it's two reporters and they are rival reporters, and something to do with their magical powers brings them together, and they end up forming some sort of romance. And that's all I know about these as well, but they're really pretty and highly recommended by everyone at Barnes and Noble, so I'm excited to read them. Uh, Next is The Foxglove King, and this one had a really pretty cover. It is by Hannah Witten, and I love the way this one looks. This is a romantasy with no spice. And this one is supposed to be a gothic and dark romantic new epic fantasy series. Uh, she runs poisons for the cartel, and when a job goes wrong, she suddenly finds herself thrust into a lavish court where no one can be believed and fewer can be trusted. So this one sounded pretty cool, and I really like the cover. This was another highly recommended one that I'm excited about. The next one is probably the one I'm wanting to read the most. So this one is To Kill a Shadow by Catherine Quinn, and this is a dark fantasy. Uh, the only dark fantasy I've ever really read was Joe Abercrombie's The Blade Itself, and I liked it. It wasn't too bad. It's not right up my alley. I usually like happier fantasies or sci-fi, but it was definitely really well written and it was very vivid. So I'll give it that. This one had super pretty sprayed edges, which I thought was cool, and a very neat cover on it. This one seems to be about, oh yeah, a group of knights that have to go into some sort of like mist or darkness to gather these flowers. And I guess it's poisonous out there, and it's a very dangerous job, and that's what they're responsible for. And he ends up running into some woman out there while he's doing it, and falls madly in love. So this one is dark fantasy, but I think it does have a little bit of romance, no spice, but it looked really cool. I'm excited about it. This next one is called The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. This is one my wife read. She loves Lynn Painter, loved this book. This is a groundhog trope for Valentine's Day. Basically, from what I gather, this one again had super cute sprayed edges, which I love the sprayed edges on books. I think it's really cool. So this one, she messes something up or something goes wrong and she gets stuck doing the same thing over and over again. Every day when she wakes up, the same thing's happening, and she has to kind of figure out how to get out of this loophole or whatever it may be. And that's all I know about this one. But Valentine's Day is coming up, so I figured I might as well grab something lovey-dovey. And this one looked like a good one. My wife loves it, so I'm excited to read it. And then the last category is Cozy Fantasies, Legends and Lattes, and Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldra. These books I'm really excited about. I'm very interested in. So basically, from what I've gathered on this author, is these are like his two biggest books he's written or published, and it's about this. This one's about this orc who is off. She's like I'm assuming a barbarian, wreaking havoc, and tries coffee for the first time and falls in love with it, goes back home and wants to give up the life of being a warrior. And so she opens her own coffee shop and wants to bring, latte and bread to it. And this one is one you could like cuddle up on the couch and read and not have like high stakes, not like have your heart pounding out of your chest. So you could just be cozy, sipping your coffee and read about her sipping her coffee. The next one I think is along the same lines, but it's the second book in the series. As far as I know, there's not much spice, but it is a romance. And I am super excited about this. I think it's a very interesting take on barbarians and orcs and really fantasy in general. I think a cozy fantasy would be fun. That's all I know about these books, but I'm really excited about it. I think they look really cool. The last two, probably the best two, my daughters picked out because they wanted to read as well. And they got Dragon Girls and Itty Bitty Princess Kitty. So my youngest is obsessed with dragons, and she saw this one and just had to have it. That's about all she needed in order to pick a book. It has to do with magic and dragons. Itty Bitty Princess Kitty, my oldest loves dresses and sparkly things and crowns and kitties, so I'm sure she will love this one. I'm sure they'll both give me a really good review on these books, and I'll have to go over them with everybody. That's all the books I got. It's not a huge haul, but I thought it was a good one to kind of get me started, and I'm really excited about it. I just finished ACOTAR. I'm in the middle of Game of Thrones, Throne of Glass, and I'm excited about reading those, and I'll let you all know how it goes. Y'all have a good day.